Hey everyone, what is going on? So we have another video for you today. These are battles that I did, and this is my best team for the Open Master League. Now, it is expensive. At the end of the day, it is the Master League, so of course it's going to be expensive, but it is what it is. This is a great team, and I've done really well with it. Dialga is a great lead. Lugia is a great safe swap, and then Giratina is a great closer as well. I really like this team, all in all. Let's go ahead and dive right into the battles and see what we got going on for us. I do feel like I played the team pretty well. So I'm going to be able to catch the close combat and Lugia. So, yeah, very nice for me. I'm going to heavily resist that. And of course, they are double resisting my Dragon Tail attacks, but it was worth the catch. Out comes Dialga. I'm going to go ahead and go straight for the Arrow Blast right now, and I do get to it. Now, it won't be enough to KO, and my opponent is at 1 shield, so I don't anticipate the shield. And my opponent does not shield it, okay? So my opponent throws an attack. I could have shielded here if I was calling the Draco Meteor, but I'm fine with letting it go because I can go ahead and farm down with Dialga. Maybe I should have shielded it because then I could have one switch, right? But I could farm down with Dialga and try and get to an Iron Head at least against that Zacian, right? So that's the plan, and Zacian is coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my Iron Head right now. And, yeah, okay, I do pick up that shield. My opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. I do shield. And I was going to try and catch, well, I am going to try and catch on the next one, but unfortunately I'm 1 turn short. I was going to try and catch on the next one. I guess I miscounted. That's unfortunate for me, but it happened. So I go down, I bring in Giratina. My opponent has Yveltal in the back. So even if I did manage the catch, I think it would have been tough. But good game, well played. Yveltal is difficult for this team. Moving on, okay, Dialga into Groudon. So, not the greatest matchup. Obviously, a Precipice Blades will KO me, and they could bait. So usually I try and catch on the Precipice Blades, and I do catch. But most of the time when I do catch, I usually catch a Fire Punch because it's a pretty safe bait for the Groudon to go for Fire Punch, right? So because, I mean, Fire Punch is still neutral, right? So it is a safe bait for them. So, okay, Dialga is going to go ahead and go for an Iron Head. Very nice. I'm charging up, going for the Sky Attack bait right now. Could go either way. They could shield it, they could call it, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. And my opponent does shield it. Will that allow me to get to an Arrow Blast? That will allow me to get to an Arrow Blast. If I didn't bait, I would have been able to get off a Sky Attack, but not an Arrow Blast. And I do get off that Arrow Blast. But my opponent actually switches into Groudon. Instead of getting farmed down, I could have switched out, I guess, but it is what it is. I bring in my Groudon now, or my Giratina, not Groudon. Now, Precipice Blades will still do. Precipice Blades is just so good. It made Groudon so good, right? Groudon was still good with Earthquake, but with Precipice Blades, it's that much better. It does more damage and it takes less energy. I'm gonna be hit with that Precipice Blades, but I can get off a Shadow Ball. This is a Shundo Giratina, by the way, really cool to have it, and that will be enough to KO. Out comes Kyogre. That will be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Able to take that one. Very nice indeed. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. I do have Dialga into Lugia. Okay, not bad. Not the best. Just because, yeah, I resist the charge attacks, but Arrow Blast still does a lot, and I'm taking neutral damage from Dragon Tail. But still not terrible. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Iron Head bait right now. See if my opponent wants to shield. And my opponent will, in fact, not shield, so good call by them. I'm going to go ahead and take this. It's going to be an Arrow Blast, which will get me pretty low, which is a little bit unfortunate. It would have been nice to shield that, I guess. But that's okay. Can I make it to a Draco? I could still make it to a Draco. So if they let this one go, it will be enough to KO the Lugia, and they do let it go. Would Iron Head have been enough? I would have been tight, I think. Lugia is so tanky. But anyway, I bring in my Lugia against the Mewtwo right now. Mewtwo is going to go ahead and go for an attack. Shadow Ball. Kind of expected the Shadow Ball, that's why I shielded. And now out comes Dialga. Okay, so my opponent is up a shield, so I'm going to go ahead and bait again. And the baits have been working out well for me. I am going to pick up a shield here, which is really nice. Again, even though Dialga resists Arrow Blast, it still does a lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and take this because I know even if it's a Draco, I survive it, and it is a Draco. So I do indeed survive it. Now, this will not be enough to KO my opponent's Dialga, but I'll still take that damage, right? Gonna go ahead and switch out. Now, I could bring in my Giratina. Maybe I shouldn't have switched out into the Dialga. I was trying to get damage on it, but I guess it ended up working out. Because I got a lot of farm with my Giratina, my opponent was not able to get off a Draco Meteor, which is good. I'm not going to go ahead and bait them. I'm just going to go ahead and go straight for the Shadow Ball, just in case they want to call the Ominous Wind. I'm going to go ahead and shield that. Totally fine. Because I will be able to make a Shadow Ball, and this will be enough to KO the Mewtwo. And that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. But yeah, Giratina does really well as long as the Dialga gets out of the way. There are other threats to it, like Zekrom, like Dragonite. Not Pokemon you see every single game like Dialga, though. Yveltal, obviously we saw that. Yveltal walls it. Zarude, but Zarude I don't see in the Open Master League because it's a big investment, and who has the Rare Candy XLs for that, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for this Draco. I usually just go for this Draco in the mirror match, and as you can see, my opponent did not shield it. They called the bait, or they just didn't want to shield it. But we saw the Zekrom. So Zekrom is difficult for Giratina, but I still have my Dialga alive, right, which is good. So I do go ahead and shield that, and I think I go for another bait. I do go ahead and go for the bait here. See if my opponent wants to shield. And they do shield, so another successful shield bait. I'm going to just go ahead and go for the Sky Attack because I couldn't make it to an Arrow Blast before my opponent was able to make it to a move, but that's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and let this go. This actually surprises me. My opponent actually goes for an Ominous Wind. I don't shield it, and I do survive. So I am going to get another Dragon Tail through, so now I can just farm down with Dialga, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I just want to get a lot of damage off on this Zekrom. Look how much damage my Dragon Breath is doing. It's almost gone. I'm going to be able to go for this Iron Head just to pick up. I mean, they have to shield. Even though they know it's an Iron Head, they have to shield, right? And they do shield. Now I can switch out, but my opponent actually throws on CMP, which is even better for me, right? So Crunch is going to be enough to KO, and I'm going to be able to bring in this Giratina, and I can get off an Ominous Wind. My opponent does win CMP, and he does get to the move first, but that's okay because I have a shield plus a Crunch. I want to say a Crunch wouldn't have KO'd me. I am weak to it, but I don't think it would have KO'd me. But regardless, I did have a shield, and I got off the Ominous Wind. Good game, well played to my opponent, and I'm going to be able to take that game. Good game. Moving on, Dialga into Groudon. So another Groudon. Okay, let's do it. So again, I am going to switch on 7 to try and catch the Precipice Blades. You could go one above just in case they want to go for the Overfarm. As we can see, my opponent is doing that, going for that Overfarm. But I just switched that 7 there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yveltal going to go ahead and throw an attack right now. I could take one Dark Pulse, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I do throw the Sky Attack, but my opponent gets off an attack. So I will go ahead and shield this and get off the Sky Attack. Maybe force the shield, and then can I get to an Arrow Blast? Yeah, Yveltal I feel like has become really, really good. I can't make it to an Arrow Blast, so I'm just going to go ahead and forget about doing that and going for the Sky Attack. Maybe they'll think it's an Arrow Blast. No, they do not. My opponent's charging up energy. Even if I shielded, they'll be able to get to another attack. So I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna cut my losses, let the Lugia go, farm down with Dialga, and at least I have an Iron Head ready to go for the Groudon, right? So, I mean, the Groudon might actually want to shield this. They do have a lot of energy. I think they had like 8 or something, and we do pick up that shield. Now I bring in Giratina. Precipice Blades will still do a lot to my Giratina, so I'm gonna go ahead and respect it. I don't expect the bait. It is the Precipice Blades. Can I make it to a Shadow Ball? I can make it to a Shadow Ball, but my opponent makes a good catch on Zacian. Now, the thing, I would have thrown the Shadow Ball into the Zacian anyway, so I'm fine with that catch, but it was a good catch. And I'm going to be able to get off another Shadow Ball, which will be enough to KO. So let's go to KO. And now out comes Groudon. And they do get to a Precipice Blades, but I do believe I live it. Now, this is a crazy game. I do live it. And I'm like, I can make it. I do make it, but my opponent wins CMP, and I was hoping for the Fire Punch not to KO, but it does KO, and I bring in Groudon, or not Groudon, Dialga. But the Groudon will be able to make it to another Precipice Blades. You can see how strong Precipice Blades Groudon is. Very good game, very close game, well played to my opponent. I almost had it. If I was able to land that Ominous Wind, I would have won because I would have been able to farm down with Dialga. Good game, well played. Moving on, Dialga into Kyogre. Kyogre switches out into Dialga, okay. So I'm just going to stay in here and throw a Draco. My opponent throws. I know this is... I mean, it's an Iron Head. I'm not going to shield it. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Draco, and then if they shield, I'm going to switch into Lugia. I have Lugia for that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is fine. The backline does pretty well against Groudon, or not against Groudon. Yeah, so wait, so I basically want to bring in the Lugia, and I do want to farm down. I think I might shield this and go for the farm down. No, I let it go. It's an Iron Head. Maybe I knew it was an Iron Head. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and go for that farm down. Very nice. Kyogre, oh yeah, Kyogre, it wasn't Groudon, it was Kyogre, I forgot. So that's totally fine because Giratina does well. Lugia can do fine as well, especially with all that energy against Kyogre. Okay, I mean, I'm willing to let the Lugia go at this point. I did so much damage with that Arrow Blast. Totally fine. Do I bring in Dialga? Actually, I think I bring in Giratina to get... Yeah, I do. They switch out into Florges. Okay. So I was actually... You saw me trying to click on the Pokemon. I was trying to catch the Moonblast. Unfortunately, the switch just didn't go through, so I wasn't able to. So I'm going to go ahead and invest the shield. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Shadow Ball right now. And I think I try and catch the next one. I do, and I do successfully catch this one. This is going to be the Moonblast. It's not going to be another bait. Totally fine. They actually undercharge, good undercharge, but I'm going to be able to bring in Giratina. And I do throw this Shadow Ball right now. Did I throw in CMP? I want to say I did. Yeah, I did throw in CMP. I'm going to go ahead and shield this one up. And that is going to be this. I knew it was a disarming voice, but I'd rather shield that than anything Kyogre can get to. But anyway, that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. I'm going to be able to take that one. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. It's going to be Mewtwo from my opponent. Now, you got to watch out for Focus Blast, right? But I'll tell you, well, there's a couple things. One, they could bait and not even throw the Focus Blast. Two, a lot of times they don't even carry Focus Blast nowadays, right? I see it with Shadow Ball a lot, most of the time. I have seen Focus Blast. That's why I'm going to go ahead and call this. And I'm not going to go ahead and shield this. And it is going to be a Side Strike, so that's good. It was a bait. My opponent's going to throw another attack. This one I do shield just in case they want to throw like the Shadow Ball and it will do a lot to me. But no, it's another Side Strike. And I'm going for the farm down. I could have thrown the Iron Head, I think. But still, now it's going to be the Shadow Ball. So it is the Shadow Ball. Still not enough to KO me. The Snipe with Dialga, but that locks in the Dialga. So I'm going to bring in my Lugia right now. And this is good that Giratina gets to avoid the Dialga, right? And Dialga is going to go ahead and go for an attack. I let it go. It's going to be a Draco. Okay, I kind of thought it would be, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to go, because now they're debuffed, right? The attack is debuffed. I'm going to be able to go for the Arrow Blast and now switch in and get some farm with Giratina. Very nice. So I do get some farm there. And now out comes Kyogre. So this is looking really good for me. Obviously, you know, Blizzard is a concern, right? I get that. But we're still looking really good here. My opponent lets the Shadow Ball go. I'm going to go ahead and go for an Ominous Wind right now. This Ominous Wind is going to pick up the shield, and I am keeping track of energy. They do have enough for Blizzard. I do expect the bait, but even if I shield the bait, which I am going to shield the bait, my opponent still cannot get to a move. And they made it in a catch, or an attempted catch. But and yeah, I would have gotten off an Ominous Wind against the Kyogre. So yeah, good game, well played. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. A Groudon lead. Okay. So again, I'm going to do the same gameplay, try and catch the Precipice Blades or the Fire Punch, whichever one they throw. But my opponent actually, I didn't catch, but my opponent stays in and actually throws an attack. So I'm going to throw that Fire Punch anyway, which is totally fine with me. I'll take that. Out comes Lugia for my opponent. I think I bait again. I've been baiting a lot today with Lugia. I do bait. Yeah, I've been baiting a lot with Lugia, not going to lie. I'm going to go ahead and bait the Sky Attack right now. Or bait the Arrow Blast, and my opponent does shield, so I've been getting them all, which is good. I don't shield this. I probably should have, but because it is an Arrow Blast. But that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and go for my own. Because I know, like, I could farm down with Dialga, right? And I'll be able to threaten that, at least threaten the Groudon with Iron Head. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one. And it's going to be an Arrow Blast. I expected an Arrow Blast there. So I'm going to go ahead and farm down. No, my opponent makes a switch and throws an attack. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one up. It's that Precipice Blades. That is a good shield. So I'm going to go ahead and farm. I have 2 Iron Heads. So I'm going to go ahead and throw 1 Iron Head right now. We'll get the shield. I'll go ahead and throw the other one. I actually didn't think this was going to KO. I thought it would barely live, but it actually does KO, which is good for me. So that's good. So out comes Rayquaza. Yeah, I remember this battle. Really cool to see Rayquaza. I've seen it quite often, but it's really cool to see. I always love battling it. So Breaking Swipe is going to KO me. And now I wasn't sure if I'd be able to win this one just because I knew they would get to a. I knew they would win CMP. I don't know why I threw in CMP. I knew they would win it, but that's fine. Breaking Swipe is going to connect. Because of the debuff, this is not going to KO, but I could still Shadow Claw it down. And there we go. I do Shadow Claw it down. And Lugia is going to go down. That is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. Yeah, really well done. And looks like that was the last game. I had a 4-1, and then I had a couple other battles I included. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the videos. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.